What is happening, y'all? What is happening? What is happening? I'm your working gamer, and we are here going over our build for Monster Hunter Wilds, of course. So first things first, we did the switch axe,
Got something in mind?
and I started off like everybody else with the hope axe. And then what I actually did was I moved on to the bone axe. Very simple and easy to get, very strong, raw attack damage with the bone axe. And it does carry you a fairly long time because of the raw attack power. And of course, it exhausts the enemy. That's its field type. We ended up with the Gore Hacker at level 2, which does Dragon a field type. And the attack power is 781 because I do have some jewels attached to it. So this is actually very good overall because the attack power is 781. It's very high. Does a lot of raw damage output. And then, of course, when the more difficult monsters you fight in this game are the dragons. So for me, it was a very good balance where I didn't actually have to switch the weapon out at all. This is the weapon that once I got it, it carried me. I had the Gore Hacker level 1. I used it for a very long time, and then I just upgraded to the Gore Hacker level 2. So that's what I focused on. Now, granted, there are a bunch of weapons here that I am going to probably go for in the end game content. So I'll probably do a little bit of hunts, like right here. This is perfect. I mean, I'm going to go from 781 to 886. I mean, this is just, again, crazy good raw attack power plus the dragon feel, right? But there are also other great options that you can choose. Look at this Sawbill Axe, 770 with fire damage. This is a great one to use. Right, the Fulgur Switch Guardiana. Again, 735, but look, 250 electric thunder damage. So everything does kind of balance out in its own way. And there's also the Bone Smasher, right, which comes from the Bone Axe that we used at the beginning of the game, like I mentioned. Look at this Bone Smasher again, 816. Again, really good attack power with the exhaust feel, pretty much exhausting the enemy. So a lot of different playstyles, a lot of different weapons that you can get and use depending on the monster that you're going for. So the one thing again that I mentioned in my review video is that the affinity, I didn't know what that was. Right, so for me, if I go for the Gore Hacker, I'm gonna be stuck at negative 15 affinity, which is fine. I mean, like, I got through the whole game, no problems. You know, just focusing on buffing my defense and not getting into negatives for resistance and upping my raw attack power with the Dragon Field because most of the more difficult enemies you fight, again, are the dragons. But the raw output damage from this is just insane. So this actually carried us. Once I got this, I just stuck with it. I upgraded to level 2, stuck with it, and that took us to the end game. And I plan on getting this now for the end game content. This is just like my weapon of choice. It looks cool, it looks badass, good dragon output damage, and good raw output damage. So, affinity type, regardless, I know it's in the negatives, and we're getting it done anyway. Go ahead and check those streams out. I mean, we're getting it done. I hardly died. I maybe fainted maybe once or twice towards a couple monsters at the end game. Outside of that, I didn't faint at all until about 75% really through the game, or get killed at even once on a quest, because of just focusing on raw damage output. So, and I was just using potions and stuff like that to heal myself and what have you. So that's what I focused on for a weapon, is just raw attack power, and then the dragon field type. Simply because, again, the more difficult monsters that you fight in this game are going to be the dragons. Now, would I have loved to test these weapons out? Absolutely. Like, this is where the grinding of the game comes in, and I'm definitely going to check out some of these other weapons. Like, I'm definitely going to go and get the Bone Smasher for sure. I want to test that out, and I'm definitely going to get the upgraded one for the Gore Hacker, or even this. This one does some crazy damage too. Water damage, raw attack power 840 with water damage 250. It's a nice balance right there. So, then there's this, of course, too. This is a nice one, too. Look at this. So, in this one as well, the dragon damage 180, element attack 805. This is nice, right, to go take on a dragon with. So, a lot of different options that you can choose, and I really love that about the game, but those were the weapons that I focused on. Now, when it comes to armor, again, I focused on just buffing defense and keeping my resistance not in the negatives. And that took me a very long way. I wasn't even focusing on equipment skills for the Swift Axe. I wasn't even really focusing on equipment skills for the armor, I strictly was focusing on defense. I wasn't even paying attention to it. I kind of was, I kind of wasn't. You know, but as you get the more high rank armor and beat the more difficult monsters, and you grind a little bit on some optional side quests and some random hunts via Alma and stuff like that, you do get all this equipment. Like, see, I can get this one. My defense goes up as something's going to the negative. You know, like this one may be a good balance, right? Nothing goes into negative, but my dragon resistance goes down to 0. I don't know how I feel about that. But the equipment skills really matter, and I did not really recognize that. Because as you're fighting, it's like, oh, this skill kicked in, oh, that skill kicked in, oh, this skill wore off, or this skill wore off. And I wasn't really paying attention to that until towards the end game. I'm like, what is happening here? And it's the equipment skills. And I started focusing more on the equipment skills. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, I really just focused strictly on defense, and I got away with it by just keeping all my resistances above the negatives. I mean, this is what I ended my main game at. I'll show you the stats. We ended up at defense 268. Okay, 15, 12, 9, 6, 8. And that's because we have a couple jewels and things like that that I'm going to demonstrate in a little bit. But nothing too crazy. Again, just focused on defense. I'm going to beat the dead horse. Just focus on defense and keeping everything above the negatives and just dodging through the monster's attacks, because it's not too hard to kind of read the monster's attacks and dodge through them. So especially when you got your SOS flare and there's like, you know, 3 or 4 of you. I played offline. So me and the NPCs, you know, we took on every quest and we annihilated, and, you know, no problems. Now, do I think buffing defense is great? Yes, but then you have to kind of offset it with some jewels, in my opinion. I don't suggest having anything at 0 or in the negatives. I'll just keep everything above that. Like, yes, the you know, you can leverage your equipment skills to save you, but I wouldn't rely on that to, like, save you, you know, because I just wouldn't. I feel like that's very risky playstyle. That's not my type of playstyle. Here are the active skills here. So these go a very long, like, see, my attack gets a +3 here. My defense gets a +5 here. It's at level 4. Right, so again, just something to keep in mind. But again, we kept it very simple, very basic. Whatever pretty much provided the most defense and the highest resistance that, you know, allowed us to not be in the negatives. So with that being said, let's show it off what we got. I got, again, the Gore Hacker here, 770 field type, and these are the jewels I have. I have the attack jewel here. Okay, we have it at... Okay, got the attack jewel, okay. And we have the shield jewel. One for offense and one for defense. So, KO jewel here. Again, like, I even struggled to, like, learn what half of these jewels even do. Again, just because it was a lot going on in this game. There's a lot going on. Like, it says KO jewel slugger level 1, but it doesn't actually tell you, like, here what's going on or, like, what it does. It's right here, slugger, right? Stun power at +20. Then I got my attack jewel here. It gives you an attack boost. I'm pretty sure it's +3 at level 1. So that's what we focused on here. Defense jewel buffs your defense by +5 or +8, depending on the level it is. Physique jewel helps with your stamina. Protection jewel, again, helps with your defense. So just buffing defense, trying to be as tanky as possible. Protection jewel helps with defense as well. And then, again, straight up defense jewel. So, see, defense boost. So, for me, protection jewel here, while active, reduces damage taken by 15%. Protection jewel, while active, reduces damage taken by 15%. See? Physique jewel here. Reduces fixed stamina depletion Defense jewel buff is defense. Where'd it go? See, defense +5. KO jewel. Stun power +20. Attack jewel. Attack power +3 at level 1, then +5, then +7. So again, just like raw output power, defense, that's what I focused on here. Shield jewel level 2. It's going to be a defense, just to be clear. And this was also part of my problem. There's so much going on. See, now I can't even find it. Look, see, the shield jewel just like disappeared. That's so crazy. But nonetheless, that's what we focused on here. Again, it's just straight offense, straight defense, stamina. Reduce damage taken by 30%. See, so stamina, defense, offense, and keeping our resistance above the negatives and above 0. Pretty much what we focused on, and we got it done without an issue. Now, talismans, I literally, again, defense charm. That's all I got here, was a defense charm. I don't even have the things to upgrade it to a level 3. Even if I wanted to, I can't do it. I don't think I can. Nope. See, I need to go hunting to get this to a level 3. It will boost it by 6 or 7, which isn't bad. You know, it's not bad to go on a couple of these quests, get your defense up, especially for endgame content. But once you beat the main game, the endgame content, I feel like, is actually a little bit easier than the final boss, because I've done a couple missions in the endgame, and the missions seem to be a little bit easier in nature. A little bit more fun, a little bit more leisurely on the hunts and stuff like that. Just my personal take. But as we come here again, final step is our mantle. Again, I stuck with this. Continually restores health for a period of time once activated. You know, so there's a couple different ones here that you can use. Reduces damage taken, prevents reactions when attacked. Evading just an attack right before it maneuvers. It activates like a skill if you dodge at the right time, like a perfect dodge. Decreases health. I'm not a big fan of anything that decreases health, stamina, or defense, or offense. So I didn't even bother with that one. But again, I know I'm kind of blasting through this a little bit, but because there's so much going on with like the equipment skills and the jewels and affinity and the active skills and everything else that's going on, and I just tried to keep it super simple, very straightforward. I didn't try to get too crazy with it. When it comes to, you know, the skills and the armor and things like that, I started to focus on that a little bit more towards the end game once I figured it out. You know, during combat, I'm like, oh wow, all these things are getting activated. What is actually happening here? And it's the equipment skills. So, yeah, sure. Am I an idiot? Sure. And did I not understand what was going on? Maybe. But this was my build. Again, very straightforward. I like the fact that nothing is stat driven. Like, you don't have to go get points. It's farming. Like, you play the game to get the gear that you want. It's not, you know, just like, oh, let me go keep repeating this over and over and over again to get souls and then level up my stats. It's, let me go get this armor set, let me go get that armor set, and then let me go on this hunt, and then let me go on that hunt. The replay value with the armor and different builds you can do is very much flexible and very much fun, and I definitely look forward to doing different builds to go on different hunts and try out different weapons and things of that nature. So with that being said, you know, we went over our weapon, went over why we picked it, and the jewels and the armor and what we focused on in terms of defense and stats, so to speak. And for me, that's literally all I focused on. I didn't try to go crazy with it. I didn't try to do anything wild with it. That was our straightforward build, nothing too crazy. And you know, some people be like, well, bro, that's so simple. You could have gone like so much more crazier. But I just didn't do that, you know. So just to show what we actually had here, look, I got the Wraithian helm, I got the Duna wild mill chest, I got the braces here on the arms, the Boing coil, and the greaves here. This is what I chose, and I got everything to max, no problems. I ended up with a stupid amount of money. I still have a stupid amount of money, The game is very forgiving in that nature, where you can repeat optional quests, get money, and keep going through Alma and getting those gear and everything. And I have plenty of money to spend. I have plenty of money to spend. Go ahead and look at the top right hand corner. Like, I got plenty of money to spend, and because I didn't really use that many different weapons. I'm very simple, very straightforward playthrough. And I definitely look forward to getting a little bit more creative in the end game and the hunts. But with that being said, I'm your working gamer. Hit that like and subscribe button. Plenty more to come as we work our way through the backlog, as always. Hope you have a great day, blessed day. Again, very straightforward build, nothing too crazy. That's what I focused on. Check out the other game reviews and builds. Check out the other streams that you can see, the combination, things of that nature for the Swift Axe. But this is what I went with. So I hope you have a great day, a wonderful day. Teach their own, of course. However you have fun playing the game, you do you and what works best for you. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and enjoy yourself, all right? Have a good one, y'all.